Let me tell you a story, and it's quite a recent one. It's set in May and June, and what happened was my social life declined a lot. The reason? It's because I thought I am a very sociable person. But what really happened was I made a narrative in my brain saying I am only sociable if somebody approaches me. While looking at it in retrospect, I can clearly see it is not the ability of being social that I had. It is just the mere ability of talking to people that I had. So, even though I thought I was very social, what in reality happened was I was not at all social. So, what happened was I was losing my social ability and social life while I thought my skills were increasing. But then something happened that can only be described as a canon event. I watched an anime called Free Rent Beyond Journey's End. And no, I am not here to promote it. People say one picture speaks 1,000 words, and one episode of anime has like 30,000 pictures. So you can do the math. But getting to the point, Free Rent taught me something that most of the social skills books will not teach you. It taught me the value of human connection. It taught me how cruel time itself can be, how limited it is. And so, one thing that I took away from Freedom was that I had to increase my social skills, increase my social life by being the approacher. Previously, I used to think that I could talk to people if people come to me and start speaking first. But now, after watching Freedom, I started speaking first. I started approaching. I went and fist bumped the random guy. I literally became a social butterfly. And with the belief that I already was good in social skills, it skyrocketed my progress and the results were phenomenal. So, what is the core thing that can be extracted from that little story? It is that trapping yourself in any framework is not worth it. I did not start with skills. I just started by dropping the mindset that I had. So here is where it gets interesting. The labels like introvert, the labels like nerd, the labels like troublemaker, or anything, any kind of level is harmful. They feel like your personality, like you are a night owl. You can only study at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But in reality, they are just the habits that you have rehearsed over and over and over again. They are not your true inner personality. They are just a reflection of what you have been doing in the past. So when you say you are a night owl, that just means you have been studying at night for way too long and you have got accustomed to it. If I put a gun to your head and said you only could study in the morning, you would force yourself to study in the morning, and that study would actually produce quality results. It's not that the night or the morning itself is the problem. The problem is that you have labeled yourself as a particular type of person who can do a kind of work in a particular environment, or who can only talk to certain kind of people, or who can only get successful if he has some characteristics or some traits. For example, he is taller, or he has gained more weight, or he has lost more weight. You have just made a prison inside your own mind, and you have trapped yourself inside that prison. The thing is, your brain wants to be super consistent, even if it is harmful for your body. What your brain wants is that a constant set of profile. I am Ankush, I do this, I do this, I do this. It wants a bullet point of, alright, I am this kind of a person. It wants a definition, a rigid definition. And the definition of a definition is that it will not change. So, what your brain wants more than anything is to not change, it's to be what it is currently. You have heard the placebo experiment. This is the experiment where the doctors, what they did was they took fever patients, and on one set, they gave them the real medicine. On the other set, they just gave them some pills. Both of the sets were told that, alright, we have given you medicines, you should be cured by a X amount of time. What they found out was the group that did not even receive the medicine, that just received the fake pills, they too cured by the same amount of time as the guys who received the medicine. Isn't that fucking crazy? Because that just means fever is just a condition inside your brain. Alright, biologist, don't rush to the comments. I know you're gonna prove me wrong, but listen to me for a second. In this experiment, the patients literally outgrew their fever, a biological condition, a literal virus poking inside your body and blood cells, or whatever it is, the biology. I have not taken biology in class 11 and 12. But the crazy part is that just their thinking was able to alter their biology. People who think losing weight is a headache tend to lose less weight because they already have made a mental barrier that, oh, losing weight, it's a hard task. I cannot possibly do it. They have just barricaded their own progress because they think, alright, this wall could not be climbed. If each and every person in the entire world thought in the same manner that, alright, X cannot be done, Y cannot be achieved, there would be no Guinness World Record, there would be no science, there would be no any field, because every field has contributors from people who think that shit can be achieved. And there is a really great quote from Marcus Aurelius, and you've probably heard his name because it's become a buzzword due to all the Stoic stuff and all. But even though that is the case, this quote from Marcus Aurelius actually makes you understand that yes, things exist inside your own brain. The first barrier to success is your own brain. It's not the tools you have, it's not the time, it's not anything. If you think you can achieve rank 1 in something, then you can achieve rank 1 in something, because rank 1 will also be a human. It's not like that in any competition or any sports or any academic achievements, the rank 1 will be an alien or a different species of animals. It will be a fellow Homo sapien with two eyes, one nose, two ears, and overall, it will be identical to you. It will be a human. That is the point. So, why not you? So, why can't you achieve? Why do you think you can't achieve? And that quote is, choose not to be harmed and you won't be harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Which means, if you choose to not go in the battle, you will not go in the battle, you will not feel injured. But if you choose to go in the battle and choose to just not feel harmed and just keep pushing forward, you will not feel harmed. So, the key takeaway is, if you define yourself by a certain number of qualities, a certain list, then that means you are not gonna change. And that is the real problem, because self improvement is all about changing. It's about constantly being fluid and dynamic rather than being rigid, which means you have got to abandon your so called identity. So called identity of being an introvert, so called identity of thinking that losing weight is a pain. You've got to embrace that, alright, I can do it too. Yeah, sure. Sometimes keep the positive identities. If you think you're really good in social life, just like how I used to think, and I too currently think that I am good in social life, keep that identity. But all the negative identities, delete them and purge them. But even be careful with the good identities, because don't ever keep terms and conditions. Just as how I kept terms and conditions in the first identity of mine, that is, I am a good social person, I told myself that only I am good if somebody approaches me first. Do not keep such asterisk in your positive identities. Make sure your positive identities are truly positive and they do not have a darker side to it, they do not have a negative side to it. For example, my current identity of being social is unanimously agreed upon by my entire brain. I am a social guy, I can talk to people. There is no aspect of, alright, I have to be approached first by someone else. There is no such nonsense. It is clearly defined as, I can talk to people. But your identity should not mean that you will not want to change. If I say I am good at talking to people, that does not mean that I am the best at it. I might be better than the average, but I still have to improve my own skills. So, in accordance to that, you too have to treat your positive identities very carefully. Step 1 is, of course, delete all your bad identities, but step 2 is that treat your positive identities carefully. Make sure they are not limiting your growth. Be humble first of all. Even though my brain says I am a good social guy, I still have a copy of this. I still read this and get the principles, and actually I'm shocked by how much value it provides to me. So, be humble and always know that there is someone who knows far, far, far more than you in a field that you think you are the goat at. So, let me give you a week long challenge, and it's a fun experiment that you will do at home, which is take an identity and completely reverse it, completely change it, or maybe take a new identity. For 1 week, keep projecting that identity on yourself. If it sounds too vague, then I'll simplify it. Basically, what you have to do is, and I think it will be relatable to most people, that if you think you're an introvert, try being an extrovert for 1 week. I'm not saying be the social butterfly in one day. I'm not saying change all of your habits, your routines, and your schedules, everything. I'm just saying this. If you constantly say to yourself that you're an introvert, then try saying the opposite. Say yourself that you're an extrovert, that you can talk to people. You love talking to people. Try to say that and see how it impacts your life in 1 week. If it feels very painful, you don't have to continue it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but try it for one goddamn week and report back the results in the comment section. And I'm sure something will click inside you and you will actually feel that, alright, Maybe this guy on YouTube who is rambling on for such a long time about this identity and mindset is actually right. So try to observe yourself with a newer identity for 1 week. Try to change one variable at a time and do not define yourself in any way, shape, or form. Always keep yourself fluid and dynamic. Sometimes these are the concepts that because sometimes these are the concepts that we miss under the hood. It took me a one damn anime of 24 episodes of 20 minutes each to realize that, alright, maybe I'm not the god of the universe in terms of social skills. Maybe I need to improve and maybe I should improve, and I can confidently say I have improved. Similarly, if you have a belief that you can't focus and you get distracted easily, then try thinking the opposite of that. Now, if you want more guides like this, then subscribe. Or if you want my focus course, which helps you to remove all your distractions of the modern day and makes you build your focus at the same time, you can go and click the link in the description. And as always, start if you haven't already.